Hello and welcome to The Top Story, a podcast with the headlines of the day from our correspondents around the world. I'm Xi Jinping. Coming up in this edition, Chinese President Xi Jinping has congratulated Donald Trump on his U.S. presidential election win and called for more communication between the two countries. Protests have broken out in Israel as opposition parties declare Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu unfit to lead the country. And the Italian President Sergio Mattarella is in China for a state visit. We begin with North America. Chinese President Xi Jinping has congratulated Donald Trump on his election as President of the United States. Xi Jinping said history has proven that cooperation will benefit both countries. He expressed hope that the two countries will strengthen communication to find the right path to get along in a new era. The Chinese leader also stressed the principles of mutual respect, peaceful coexistence, and win-win cooperation. On the same day, Chinese Vice President Han Zheng congratulated J.D. Vance on his election as U.S. Vice President. In Washington, President Joe Biden called Donald Trump to congratulate him on winning the election. He also invited Trump to a meeting at the White House. Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris has conceded defeat and called Trump to congratulate him on his victory. Along with Trump's return to the White House, there is a shift in the balance of power in Congress as well. The Republicans have secured control of the Senate and may not be far behind to take the House as well. Nathan King explains.
Not only has Donald Trump taken the White House again, he's taken Congress, at least the Senate for now, but generally whoever wins the presidency for the last 100 years has won the House of Representatives here. So essentially Donald Trump and his Republican Party would control all three branches of government, including, you could argue, the Supreme Court with judges that he nominated and to come. Remember, Trump only has 4 years. He can't serve another term, and he's get very busy with a whole load of lists. For example, Supreme Court judges, we might see some strategic resignations or retirements from the court. Could he get rid of the filibuster to maybe talk about a federal ban on abortion, even though he says he's against it? Well, we'll see. It means legislation from everything from tax cuts to reform on the border and immigration and deportations could become a lot easier. Essentially, the Trump administration have a couple of months to really plan what they're going to do when they hit the ground running. A lot has been talked about Project 2025 from the Heritage Foundation, which looks at not only his top priorities, but really dismantling a lot of the administrative state, which has become essentially what people dub the deep state in Washington. That could be a key priority.
That was Nathan King reporting from outside the White House. Turning to the Middle East, a coalition of opposition parties in Israel has declared Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu unfit to lead the country. The protest came after Netanyahu's decision to sack Defense Minister Yoav Gallant. Thousands of people are rallying on the streets of Tel Aviv and other Israeli cities. Netanyahu cited a trust crisis as reason for Gallant's dismissal. Giles Gibson has more.
The last few months there had been these growing reports that there was this rift between the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his defense minister, but really this anger just spilled out onto the streets of not just Tel Aviv but cities all over the country. We saw roads blocked by protesters, people gathering around fires, chanting, especially demanding Netanyahu's resignation. In a statement explaining this decision, we saw Benjamin Netanyahu saying, as he mentioned, there had been this crisis of trust between the two men. We've also had Gallant saying that he disagreed with the Prime Minister on 3 key issues. The most important one, it seems, these exemptions from military service for members of the ultra-Orthodox community here in Israel. Really, with Gallant heading for the exit and also the incoming US President Donald Trump, there is this concern amongst some analysts here in the Middle East that Netanyahu will really now have a freer hand in terms of the way that he conducts the sort of different conflicts that the Israeli military is involved in. But we have also had, in the wake of all of this, a warning from adversaries but also of the incoming US President Donald Trump. We had sirens going off here in central Tel Aviv, the Israeli Defense Forces saying that Hezbollah had launched at least 10 rockets from Lebanon towards central and northern Israel. The messaging, the warning is pretty clear.
That was Giles Gibson reporting. United Nations experts say Palestinian farmers in the West Bank are facing the most dangerous olive season ever amid violence from settlers. The UN has accused Israel of lethal, warlike tactics in the territory. The olive harvest in the West Bank is central to Palestine's culture and economy. Sarah Coates reports.
The annual olive harvest is traditionally a joyful family occasion, but for Palestinian farmers in the occupied West Bank, there's nothing to celebrate this year. Because according to the United Nations, this olive season has been the most dangerous on record. Farmers say they are facing increased violence and intimidation from Israeli settlers and security forces, with the UN saying they've been assaulted and hundreds of olive trees have been burnt, destroyed or stolen by settlers during this harvest. Amjad Mohammed Ahmed Salah's olive grove sits right on the border of the illegal settlement of Ariel.
He told me that I can't stay here and that they do not protect you with their cameras. I can shoot you now. And if they leave and I see you here, I will shoot you.
This year's olive harvest has already turned deadly. 60-year-old Hanan Salameh was shot and killed by Israeli security forces in October while harvesting her trees in a village near Jenin. Activists are on hand to ensure this doesn't happen. They say Israeli security forces use security concerns as an excuse to push people off their land.
It's nonsense. It's the fear-mongering that the occupation relies on. You know, the person who we are helping harvest his olives today works in the settlement. The security guard knows who he is. Nobody thinks that he's any sort of quote-unquote security risk. It's just to slap a layer of fear on top of everything.
The olive industry generates almost $200 million for the Palestinian economy in a good year, according to the World Bank.
And this is their livelihood. These olives, this is what they have. They're not even allowed to grow agriculture. They're so limited and terrible things are happening in the country. Well, that's what we're doing here, just trying to help them because we know they can't come here alone.
The Israeli military says it works to allow Palestinians to harvest their olives while avoiding clashes with settlers, but the deteriorating security environment in the West Bank has made the situation more difficult. In October, France, Britain and Germany issued a joint statement calling on Israel to allow Palestinians to join the harvest, saying olive picking had become dangerous due to settler violence. With the generations-old olive industry central to the fabric of Palestinian society, farmers here know they're in a struggle to keep this rich tradition alive.
That was Sarah Coates reporting. In Asia, Italian President Sergio Mattarella is in China for a state visit until next Tuesday. His arrival follows an official visit by the Italian Prime Minister earlier this year. Yu Yan has more.
The Chinese Foreign Ministry said China and Italy are both Asian civilizations and important global economies, adding that the two sides enjoy solid public support for bilateral friendly cooperation in line with the common interests of both sides, and that they also contribute to the healthy development of China-EU ties. This year also marks the 20th anniversary since comprehensive strategic partnership was established between China and Italy. And this July, Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni also paid her first official visit to China, and Beijing believes that the visit of top Italian politicians underlines the robust growth of China-Italy relations. Italian media outlets report that Mattarella's visit aimed to strengthen the partnership with China, especially in cultural exchanges. For example, he will deliver a speech at Peking University while paying a visit to an exhibition around Marco Polo's legacy between the East and the West. On the other hand, Mattarella's visit also comes amid trade tensions between China and the European Union. Italy voted in favor of the bloc's move to impose special tariffs on Chinese-made EVs. Thus, many hope President Mattarella's visit will enhance mutual understanding and resolve differences and expand practical cooperation and people-to-people exchanges.
That was Yu Yang on China-Italy ties. Finally, the China International Import Expo is not over yet, but roughly 80 companies and organizations have already signed up for next year's edition. Organizers say they welcome foreign companies to participate and enjoy opportunities in China. At the ongoing CIIE, the country exhibition hall has brought together 77 participating countries and international organizations. A Syrian business is back at the expo, hoping to expand its reach. Biocham founder Rula Ali-Adib is exhibiting her essential oil extracted from Damascus roses. Chen Yiling chatted with the entrepreneur at her booth.
Could you briefly introduce us some of your products here?
Well, we have cold-pressed oils, hydrolates, hydrosols, and essential oils. And most importantly, the essential oil of the Rosa Damascena from Damascus. And then we have here combinations that we use these to produce cleansers, toners, and serum for the face.
I know this is not your first time to be at a CIIE. You've been here since the first edition.
Oh, yeah.
How do you value the platform like CIIE?
CIIE has really changed my life. I was in a really bad situation with my company in Syria because of the war and all this. And I was offered the chance to come here in 2018, very not expensive way to join. Actually was offered by the CIA to the Syrian people. And I thought, well, okay, I'm a brave Syrian woman. I can do it. Why not? I speak English. I can make it my way here. And it's a very, very simple way for a small company. I'm really a small company, but it's a very excellent way for a small company to be able to come, test the Chinese market, and be able to go in the Chinese market.
Yeah, I know. I can also tell I'm so impressed by there are so many business deals right now. You know, you have already reached a lot of revenue.
Yes, yeah.
So tell me, how do you value like this opportunity here? How do you value the Chinese market here?
The Chinese market, it's like you open the world. It's a lot of people, and the Chinese people really value the high quality. So I feel actually my products are being valued at. It's a high-end product. It's no preservative. It's organic. You really need the people that care about this to value the product. And you see people here, it's like, wow, and they're coming back. I found my market, I think. I found the place that I will call a second home. Our company is registered in China, so we're ready to call it home.
It's great to hear. Thank you so much for your time. But I do want to mention one more details I found in Rula's booth. Rula has did some rebranding this year. That means her business is now developing, it's expanding to more markets. Rula's story is not just one of the single businesswomen here. There are a lot of people like Rula. They're exploring their business opportunities here in the CIIE. And I mean for those who are brave enough, who have high quality products, and here we can see the opportunities of the market.
That was Chen Yiling reporting from the China International Import Expo in Shanghai. Now recapping the headlines, Chinese President Xi Jinping has congratulated Donald Trump on his US presidential election win and called for more communication between the two countries. Protesters have been rallying across Israel after Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu sacked Defense Minister Yoav Gallant. And Italian President Sergio Mattarella is in China for a state visit until next Tuesday. That's it for this edition of The Top Story, a podcast that brings you world headlines every weekday. For more news in politics, business, sports and culture, you can subscribe to the Beijing Hour, a one-hour podcast news and magazine program. We would welcome and appreciate all ratings and reviews. I'm Qi Zhi. Thank you for listening.